In your next full-on campaign, ditch the big bad evil guy. GameMasters here, and now hear me out. When we include the big bad evil guy in our campaign, there is usually a monologue at the beginning that sets everything up. It clearly identifies the main bad guy that the players are going to go after, though if you don't do the monologue, it's usually established by at least the end of the first session as to what the big bad evil guy is up to and what the characters will ultimately need to do to stop that big bad evil guy. I propose simply do away with that. Instead, use a big, strong, good guy. Okay, follow me here. Let me see a show of hands of who all has seen the TV show or read the comic The Walking Dead, or at least if you're familiar with the concept. Yeah, okay, I knew that wasn't really going to work. I can't really see you. But you can click that like button if you're familiar with it. The point is, in that comic, we follow the hero group's journey, Rick and his party. They're the good guys. They may do some unsavory things to survive, but ultimately they are the heroic party. They eventually run across another group called the Saviors, run by a big bad evil guy named Negan. Here's where I want to flip the tables on that whole big bad evil guy idea. What if we, instead of watching or reading The Walking Dead from the vantage point of following Rick and his party, what if instead we saw it from Negan's beginning? Would we still see him and his group as evil? Sure, they also do some unsavory things to survive, but we were only aware of them from Rick and his group's perspective. Okay, now let's jump back to our D&D campaign. If you have your party, your players, in a land full of danger, that's pretty common to any given role-playing setting. But instead of pitting them up against a big bad evil guy, let's instead introduce the big strong good guy. Imagine this. Our good king is a king or queen ruling over a kingdom where monsters lurk. The players are tasked with quests, and this will happen over a period of time, but they are tasked with perhaps dispatching a group of monsters that have been raiding a small village on the outskirts of the king's domain. Only once the party gets there, the village is in ruins. Word of this gets back to the king, and he is devastated. The party is then tasked with investigating the shipyards, as several ships have just simply not returned from their expedition to trade with another kingdom that's far to the south. The players will discover that the ships have been sunk, that the kingdom to the south sunk those ships after stealing all the supplies. And of course, word of that gets back to the king, and he is further devastated. There will need to be some successes in some of the quests, but the goal here is to chip away at that big, strong, good guy. Let me further explain. Actually, before I jump into the big reason why, let me first thank these good guy supporters. Their contributions to this channel have made it so that I don't need to take on a sponsored ad for this video, and I cannot thank them enough. If you'd like to contribute by becoming a Patreon or YouTube member, I'll leave a link down in the description. Of course, I'll add your name to this ever-growing list, and you'll have my eternal thanks. Okay, we'll want to chip away at the good guy until he gets to the point where he sees no more hope. He'll snap. He'll want to just simply burn the kingdom and beyond to the ground, just so that it can be rebuilt in what he considers to be his version of paradise. Keep in mind that his closest cohorts, guards, and protectors will likely be along for the ride on the king's side. Their aim is to keep the king going, as that's really only going to better their lot in life. But the players will have a choice to make at that point. Do they join the king or go up against him? Remember, this isn't all going to happen in the first session. It's something that can really only work if it's set up over multiple campaign sessions over time. This good guy, he'll need to be introduced as someone with that of pure and good heart, who, that despite all of the evil that's around him, believes that good can conquer all. And by slowly chipping that away, we will see this overtly good, strong guy slowly lose hope, slowly give up, all the while attempting to hang on to that morality of goodness until he just finally snaps and says, to hell with it, burn this place to the ground. Oh, for sure, this is going to be an interesting thing for the DM to deal with, as well as to kind of sit back and watch how the players react when that big reveal happens. More so in what they ultimately decide to do. Do they side with the king or do they simply attempt to go against him? What will this ultimately do to the characters? Will some side with the king and others want to go against him? Will the party split? Will they stay together? Will they gather hordes of monsters to lead up to the gates of the castle in an attempt to diminish the troops' numbers? Or will they rally the troops inside the castle and go out with them to help conquer the world? Now, I ran across the basics of this idea a few weeks back, and I haven't been able able to shake it since I saw it, and I wanted to present it to you guys as an option. I really like the idea of not defining the big bad evil guy, but instead having a good one slowly lose his marbles and transform over time. What do you think? What are some of the other things that could happen that would chip away at this good guy that would slowly transform them to a point of wanting to burn everything to the ground? Let me know down in the comments, and until next our paths cross, may you stay good.